Shocking injury update. Jalen Brunson left last night's game late in the fourth quarter with an apparent ankle injury and was seen by multiple MSG reporters exiting the arena on crutches and a walking boot. Not the news you want to hear if you're a Knicks fan, on top of the fact that the Knicks suffered their first loss at home on the season. They lose last night to the Orlando Magic, 124-107. We're going to talk about the game. Obviously, the more important news is the status of Jalen Brunson's ankle. Hopefully, it's a day-to-day issue and not a multiple-week injury. And before we get into all of that, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Poppa Left. I am the host of Your Knicks podcast. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe so we can get this channel out to Knicks fans like you. I told you last night was to be expected. On last episode, when I recapped the Grizzlies game, I told you the Knicks, who had a 28-point lead late in the third quarter in that game, they took the foot off the gas and they allowed the Grizzlies to make them defend, keep their starters in the game. I told you OG Anunoby played 38 minutes. Mikal Bridges played 37 minutes. And the next night, which was last night, they were going to have to defend against a young, hungry, physical team that wants to make a statement on national television. Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner. These are guys that want to prove that they are contenders in the Eastern Conference. And while Paolo, who also left last night with a groin injury, did not really stand out because he barely played. He played maybe a half. Franz Wagner was unstoppable. Nobody could guard him, not even OG Anunoby. He was swooping through the lane, getting nifty scoop layups, mid-range jumpers, hit a couple threes, and the Knicks just overall got a physical beatdown by the likes of Goga Batadze and, Wendell Carter Jr., Jonathan Isaac, frustrating Karl Anthony Towns, who couldn't find his rhythm. And the Knicks offense, who came into last night's game scoring 77 points in 3 straight games and a half, they were not able to hit their stride at all. They only got up 36 threes last night. They hit 11 of them. They tried to shoot for 40 threes. They didn't play with any pace. And I think that starts on the defensive end. The Knicks over-helping into the paint. Jalen Brunson got caught napping a couple times, or Anthony Black hit a 3. And then Tristan Da Silva, nice young player out of Colorado I really liked in last year's draft. He hit a 3. Knicks just not closing out. Not matching up in defense. There was a play where Desmond Bane caught off of a make. Desmond Bane just went down the floor and got a layup. There was another one where Wagner got a layup in transition. And the Knicks just, they fought, but they definitely got punched in the mouth, and they were definitely made to look like the lesser physical team. And Mike Brown noted that in the post game. He's kind of simplified all of the performance into we just got beat physically, and it's as simple as that. There are some warts in this team. The defense has been lax at certain points of the season, and the Knicks gave up 60-plus points last night in the first half, and they created too much of a negative margin of error for them to come back. In the third quarter, they did start out with a good surge of energy. They cut the lead to about 11 points a couple times. I think they even got it to single digits at some point. But every time they got it close, they couldn't get a timely bucket. There was some egregious shot selections. The Knicks, late in the fourth quarter, just had mental breakdowns, it seemed like, just taking running floaters, kind of bailing out of possessions, borderline quitting on the offensive side of the basketball. And, Karl Anthony Towns did not look fleet of foot. He was not able to get the whistle, but he was complaining a lot to referees. Mike Brown noted that the Knicks were complaining to the refs a little bit too much in the first half and didn't just play through the whistle. That's, a habit of this team from last year, maybe taking on the personality of their coach, who was Tom Thibodeau, always kind of in this back and forth shouting match with referees. And the Knicks also, whether it was Josh Hart or Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle in years past, they do have a tendency to get caught up with a poorly officiated game, at least in their mind. But, this was expected. This was a back-to-back. This is a young team in the Orlando Magic that plays physical. It threw the Knicks off. They played the Nets. They played the Wizards. They played a Timberwolves team that, doesn't really bring so much energy, as much as they do bring talent. And also they played the Bulls on a home and home. So they kind of were scheduled to win a lot of these games. And this was the first game during their homestand in a while that, you could see potentially, I wouldn't even call it a trap game. The line was at 4.5. And the Knicks were on a back-to-back. I'm not giving them an excuse. I posted on Twitter a couple defensive lapses that I'm going to show in this recap as well on Twitter. But it's not something that threw me by surprise. As far as like schematically goes, this is a team that we're going to face potentially in the playoffs. I'm not overly concerned. I think that the Knicks would have an adjustment to the physicality. I think Orlando threw their first punch. This is pretty much as good as a performance they're going to have. There's no secret or surprise to this team. They play physical. They play tough. They make you put the ball on the floor. They bang in the paint. They got a couple bigs and Goga Batadze and Wendell Carter Jr. and Paolo and Jonathan Isaac, and their wings are pretty big with Wagner and Anthony Black. And they got some scrappy players with Jalen Suggs, playing on the guard position. So they're going to be a tough team. Don't forget about Tristan Da Silva. They also got a young kid, Jace Richardson, a smaller guy, but he's a good scorer. Tyus Jones as well. So they got a good team, but they are 6-6. I'm seeing some reactions over the timeline like we just got beat by a world beater. I mean, if Orlando is so unbeatable, why do they have 6 losses on the season? And the answer is they have inconsistent scoring. And I forgot to mention Desmond Bane, their biggest offseason acquisition. But, they have inconsistent scoring. And, if you can stay disciplined and play at your pace, which the Knicks did not do, they kind of got caught in Orlando's pace and they didn't get stops and they didn't get up the floor in transition and they suffered the consequences, like I said, of playing a sloppy second half of basketball against the Memphis Grizzlies, and it trickled into last night's game. Bigger picture right now, as I close the video, is Jalen Brunson's injury status. Brunson, of course, has injured his ankle in the past. He's last year against the Los Angeles Lakers, he went down, and that was, the era of basketball where we had DeLon Wright and Tyler Kolek and Cam Payne and Miles McBride kind of handling the point guard situation. So if he's out, it's going to put more of the onus on Mikal Bridges to handle the basketball, Jordan Clarkson potentially. Maybe Tyler Kolek comes up and plays a little bit of point off the bench. I don't think that this is going to be a super long-term injury. I would say maximum maybe 4 to 6 weeks, but I don't know. I don't know any information. When I do get that information, I will make sure, if it's anything that's long-term, I will make sure I get right on this computer and give you guys a episode just to detail anything that we get from verified sources like an Ian Begley or a Shams or somebody of that status. No Twitter doctors. But hopefully Brunson just kind of rolled it and it's a sprain, maybe a low grade sprain, and we avoid any structural situation. I'm sure they're going to give us an update. My expectations would be it's a day-to-day injury. Maybe, if anything, like I said, the worst case scenario, from what I saw, he was able to walk off on his own power. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I don't know anything, but it looks like, we may not have to worry too much. But if the Knicks do play without Jalen Brunson, which they have, they're going to rely on their wings and their scoring big and Karl Anthony Towns. And I think sometimes in the long term, when your best player gets injured, it helps increase the roles of some of the players around him. And you saw that last year with Mikal Bridges hitting the big 3 against Portland and winning at the buzzer. Technically, it wasn't at the buzzer. There was like 0.3 seconds left on the clock. But you see some of the other guys kind of take the responsibility of the scoring, of the leadership. And then when you bring the collective all back together, it actually helps the team long term. So it's not all negative that Jalen Brunson goes down. Of course, the Knicks aren't going to win as many games potentially without Jalen Brunson. or they might. I've seen in years past, there, now with all the situation with John Morant, but I've seen in years past over a shorter period of time, the Grizzlies were like 13-1 without John Morant. You see the Lakers, they lost last night to the Thunder, but the Lakers started the season hot. I think they were 7-2 without LeBron James. So teams can hit you with a different look and catch you by surprise and build a new identity that teams aren't really prepared for when you play them. But obviously, we want Jalen Brunson healthy, so that's the most important situation that comes out of last night. Not necessarily the game. I mean, I know there's people concerned with the Knicks' lack of physicality. I think the Knicks proved in that Detroit Pistons series that they are not a team that is athletically powerful or they don't have guards that are huge. They don't have guys that are tough guys per se. I do think that they're able to withstand some physicality throughout a series, and I think they can make adjustments on a night on a back-to-back. Yeah, they got punched in the mouth. On a 7-game series, I think that they would prevail. That's how I feel about that. Other than that, I think we're pretty much good here. Make sure to flip through my channel and check out the video I had against the Grizzlies where I told you this was going to happen. I dropped gems here and there in the middle of these 12, 15-minute videos. You should pay attention to them because it's not just the Knicks won, the Knicks lost. There's more to the win and the loss in these recaps as I try to go over everything that's going on with this team. Last video, if you check out the last video, I talked about the potential trades that could be happening already. After I posted that video, I'm seeing on Twitter Anthony Davis to the Bulls. I'm seeing all these trade packages, Domantas Sabonis to the Heat. I'm seeing, because if I was a fan of these teams that have assets like the Bulls, the Pistons, and the Heat, I'd be working a trade machine too. So in the short term, like very myopic, looking at Knicks Magic. Oh my God, it was a bad game. If you're looking at Knicks Wizards, Knicks Nets, oh my God, the Knicks are amazing. Long term, the Knicks got a lot to figure out, and they're going to learn how to play basketball together in different environments. I think the Knicks went into last night's game thinking, I'm going to shoot a bunch of threes, and then they quickly found out that was not going to be the game. Can the Knicks win other ways and shoot a bunch of threes? I'm sure they can do that. All right. Still confident, right? One loss isn't going to shake me. A couple losses didn't shake me earlier in the year, but I am looking forward to Friday night's game against the Miami Heat. That will be a good, whether we have Brunson or not. I really want to defend home court against the Heat. The Heat beat us at their place. They're coming in here on a Friday night. You had a 7-game homestand. You want to cap it off with a 6-1. You don't want to go on the road, Brunson or not. Mike Brown talked about being a no excuse team. Brunson or not, you want to defend home court. Take care. You got a day off. No excuses there. Take care of business. They beat you on their place. They come into Madison Square Garden, finish the homestand out 6-1, reestablish yourself at 8-4, go on the road and have your next section of the season. With that said, my name is Poppa Left. I'm the host of Your Knicks. Stay tuned to all of our content and make sure you flip through the channel and check out some of our other videos.